Yesterday in our huddle, the other thing I talked about was I got a scale out. We've got a scale in our kitchen, and I said to one of our guys, publicly David talks about his weight loss, which he's he's lost a lot of weight, and I said, have you got on the scale yet today, Monday? And he said, no, not yet, because he said I'm not getting on it because I had a bad weekend. He binged some over the weekend, so. I said, well, what if, I said to our staff, what if I adjusted so he's 205 last week, and he's lost a bunch of weight. He looks fantastic. But I said to our staff, I said, what if I adjusted the scale a little bit down, 4 or 5 pounds. So when David got on the scale, he'd look at it and be like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. How good would he feel if he didn't know it, but we adjusted the scale down? Would he feel better about himself? The guys were like, yeah. And I said, Boozy, if you didn't know that we adjusted the scale, would you feel better about yourself? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, well, what if you knew we adjusted the scale? And he's like, well, no, then I wouldn't feel bad about myself. And I said, what's interesting is that some of our measurements in our company, I feel like, some of you guys are adjusting the scale. Like the intention of the measurement is to help us make more money so we can give you more money, right? You want more pay, more wages, more benefits, right? And yet there's here's 2 specific examples, because Dakota said, hey, can you give us a specific example? And I said, yes, I can. Here's 2 specific examples that I think you're massaging the metrics to make it look better, but it's actually not better. And so I think it's really important, when we do as leaders and owners, as we have measurements, what's the point of the measurement? Is it to feel good about yourself? Here's the number and you're awesome. Is it to feel good, or is it actually to produce better results? And as we talk about suffocating bullshit, it's well, that's part of it, right? Is what is the metric? And we talked in our staff openly, maybe it's the wrong metrics. Maybe that number's the wrong number that we're trying to measure. But my point is, don't play games with metrics, right? To make you feel better about yourself, because it's not producing the results you want. So anyway, really, I thought it was a really healthy conversation, but it was hard. Speaking of radical candor, it's and my son, Dakota, said, it sounds like you're angry. And I said, actually, I am. I'm pissed because, I feel like you're, the point of the measurement is so I can give you more money, but you are massaging the metric, which doesn't produce more money, right? So, I want to give you more, but we can't play games with the numbers. So, anyway, really interesting conversation, and more to come on this topic as well.